यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरांगनाचारी यमुना तीरांगनाचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्री श्रीमद देवांगे सभा स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaura. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Hare Krishna. So, once again, I am seeking the blessings of all the assembled devotees and Shyam Kishore Prabhuji for giving me this opportunity that I am thoroughly unqualified for. It's a very special day. I did not realize it until it was too late. So please forgive me if there are any shortcomings. And we do have an evening program which I pray will fill up for all the shortcomings that I may have in today's attempt to serve Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We'll all chant together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nandagopa kumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Verse number 9. Hare Krishna. So, kindly repeat once again. It's 3:22:9. 3.22.9. Priyavrato Uttanapado Swaseyam Duhita Mama Anvichati Patim Yuktam Vayah Shila Gunadibhi Priyavratottanapado Swaseyam Duhita Mama Anvichati Patim Yuktam Vayah Shila Gunadibhi.
Priyavrato Uttanapado
Swaseyam Duhita Mama
Vichati Patim Yuktam
Vayah Shila Gunadibhi.
Priyavrattanapado
Priyavrattanapado
Swayam Dehita Mama
Swaseyam Duhita Mama
Anivichati Patim Yuktam
Anvichati Patim Yuktam
Vayoshyala Gunadhi
Vayashila Gunadibhi.
Priyavrato Uttanapado
Priyavrattanapado
Swaseyam Dehita Mama
Swaseyam Duhita Mama
Anvichanti Patim Yuktam
Anvichati Patim Yuktam
Vayam Shila Gunadibhi
Vayashila Gunadibhi.
Mataji's.
Priyavrattanapado Swaseyam Duhita Mama Anvichati Patim Yuktam Vayashila Gunadibhi.
Hare Krishna. Synonyms: Priyavrata Uttanapado, of Priyavrata and Uttanapad. Sasa, sister. Ayam, this. Duhita, daughter. Mama, my. Anvichati, is seeking. Patim, husband. Yuktam, suited. Vayah Shila Guna Adibhi, by age, character, good qualities, etc. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvin Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapad. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. Purport: The grown-up daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapad, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter and at the same time the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu therefore offered her to Kardama as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. Shri Radha Gopijan Vallabh Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Nitai Patit Pavan Gaur Hari ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So once again, it is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality. And the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Hare Krishna. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurmani Chari Nirvishesh Shunyavad Pashyata Deshita Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasat Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Anghum Langhayate Girim Yat Prapatam Aham Vande Shri Gurun Deen Data Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Krishna Hare Krishna. So once again, I really pray at your lotus feet that you please bless me so I could do some justice and words come out properly in proper mood, trying to serve Srimad Bhagavatam on this very special occasion. This particular verse, it's like conversation under a conversation is happening, right? So Vidura and Maitreya Samvad is going on, and Maitreya Muni is describing the conversation between Emperor Manu and Kardama Muni in these chapters. And in this section, Emperor Manu is requesting Kardama Muni to accept his daughter Devahuti's hand in marriage. So the theme of this, from the chapter where it has started, it has revolved around the qualities of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. And here the specific significance has come that Emperor Manu has tried to describe among all the good qualities of Devahuti as one also that she is the sister of two great kings. I wanted to, in that context, wanted to speak about Varnashram a little bit and understanding of the significance of these two social orders, and then what are the lessons that we can draw from it, So what is the idea behind all the four varnas, then the purpose of Varnashram, so lessons we can draw, and then from the importance of ashram, see if we can connect few dots to the Kartik month that is going to start. So I was reading in the 11th canto, chapters 17 and 18 are where Krishna describes first the Varnashram and then the Varnashram Dharma. And first part of this is that Kardama Muni is being identified as a suitable husband for a Kshatriya girl. So the Kshatriyas, they when they look at Brahmanas, even though the qualities of Brahmanas are very contrary to the lifestyle of a Kshatriya, right? That they are not living in palaces, they are not in opulence, but the Kshatriyas, when they look at the Brahmanas, their understanding is very clear that this is a fit, very befitting match for my daughter. Why? Because they have very strong faith in the position of Brahmanas. Okay, so if you see Brahmanas, Krishna mentions here in the 11th canto, chapter 17, few qualities. I will only read the translations for the interest of time. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, cleanliness, satisfaction, tolerance, simple straightforwardness. Very important one. Devotion to me, Krishna is saying, right? Mercy and truthfulness are the natural qualities of the Brahmanas. So Brahmanas are supposed to give the direction to the society. Okay, they are supposed to impart the purpose of human life, and that's why, irrespective of any varna, ideally all the kids were sent to Brahmanas for education, and they would impart this purpose of life, and they would engage their disciples according to their svabhava, right? So even when they go back to whatever social order they would belong to, the purpose of life is not lost, right? I wanted to first, initially I thought I'll go through all the varnas and then try to compare it with what is happening in Kali Yuga, but it may take longer, so I thought I'll just shorten it to just speak about now what is happening today. In today's world, Brahmanas who are not Vaishnavas, they would turn impersonalists. So if there's a Brahmana, but if they are not practicing Bhakti Yoga, then that means they are impersonalists. And there's a problem. The problem with that is that in Harinam Chintamani, Srila Haridas Thakur, he says that in Kali Yuga, the path of attaining supreme perfection, spiritual perfection, the path to that through Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are closed. Okay. So the only way that is left is Bhakti Yoga. So if a Brahmana is not doing Bhakti Yoga, or even sometimes what happens is that they may do some aspects of Bhakti Yoga, but they are not Pradhan, they are not major part of their sadhana, then they would turn impersonalist, and that's a bad news in Kali Yuga because they would not attain spiritual perfection. So that is, in that sense, the only downside of Brahmanas. Brahmanas are very rare. You may be able to find a Vaishnava who's a Brahmana, but very difficult to find a Brahmana who's truly living by all the qualities that we said, and they are not actually into Bhakti Yoga. So, well, to say that, Hare Krishna. So, the scholars of Bhakti Yoga believe that we live in a headless society, because the society is not currently driven by those who are on the path of spirituality. I will come back to more of these, but moving on to the next one now. Kshatriya, by definition, have dynamic power, bodily strength, determination. One of the most important ones, determination, heroism, tolerance, again, Brahmana and Kshatriya common, generosity, great endeavor, steadiness, devotion to the Brahmanas. This is the defining point. Devotion to the Brahmanas. The Kshatriyas, their primary occupation is that they should be devoted to the Brahmanas. And then a defining quality, leadership. These are the natural qualities of the Kshatriyas. Materially, they are head of the society, or a tribe, or a clan, or a group, or a king. They are supposed to be, because of that position, they are supposed to be wise. They are like Ishwaras, mini Ishwaras of their society, tribe, or clan, right? The significance of Brahmana and Kshatriya is so strong that when Arjuna was placed in a dilemma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the two options, everyone has two options, whether you want to do something or not do something, and not want to degrade himself, he saw that there are two options in front of him, which he had seen from the beginning of his life. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu explains this, that why does Arjuna asks about these two options of either to take the life of an ascetic or this, because he had only seen two types of transcendentalists. One who are on the path of Gyan Yoga. Gyan Yoga means that by the power of knowledge, you have decided to not get into material world and dealings of material world. So renunciation. And the other is the path of Nishkam Karma Yogi kings. Those are the two things he has seen. And that's why he asked that. So literally in the beginning of 3rd chapter, when Krishna says, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam, actually he's talking about the differentiation between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. But because, as we are seeing, that these principles are not based on last names or families, they are based on the qualities, Bhagavad Gita generalizes that into Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga. The fundamental principle, as we will see further, is that of understanding the purpose of Varnashram, that is to make it easy for everyone's spiritual journey. If that is missing, then there is no point of Brahmana or a Kshatriya. And that's why Krishna speaks on this, on the foundation of these two principles, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga without Krishna consciousness is impersonalism. Right? And without Krishna consciousness, Karma Yoga, there is nothing called yoga, that it's just karmis, right? Who do not have the sense of God, and it's just simply karmis. So this theme is very significant, that Brahmanas or Kshatriyas, it's literally like either you get engaged in this world and you try to live your life on a transcendental platform as a bhakta, in Krishna consciousness, or you renounce from this, but you do not lose the spirit of Krishna consciousness. These are the only two paths which have sattva in it. Right? Out of all the 4 social orders, we would hear that Brahmanas, the Brahminical qualities are those that are in sattva guna. And then Kshatriyas, there is sattva guna and there is rajoguna. Thank you. Right? So these are the only 2 that are in sattva, that are done in knowledge. Okay. So there is one more downside, that is about the relationship of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. This requires a special attention. I recently heard from somebody who is very closely studying general history and Varnashram. And they say that throughout the history, the relationship between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas has always been a relationship of tension. I've already shared this with some of you, right? So relationship of tension means that like a rope is there, right? If it is just lying loose, then there's no tension. But if it is being stretched from 2 sides, then we say the rope has tension. That kind of stretched tension is a very inherent part of Brahmana and Kshatriya relationship. And the best example of this, so why it is so? Because if a Brahmana and a Kshatriya, if a situation is put in front of them, how do they respond to it would mostly be different. The Brahminical quality is of mildness, calmness, very non-confrontational. Kshatriyas are like dynamic power and determination and leadership and the protective and management and everything. So what happens is that perfect example for this is Yudhishthir and Bhima, because Yudhishthir was on little more on Brahminical side and Bhima was a little more on the Kshatriya side. So any situation appears, right? Bhima would always be like, kill him, destroy him, this, that. And Yudhishthir would be like, we should also consider this, we should also consider that. But the good quality, a Kshatriya is a good Kshatriya if they understand the authority and the supremacy of Brahminical quality. So Bhim will always comply to Yudhishthir, knowing him to be and thoroughly convinced that his Brahminical thought is actually supreme. So when Brahmana and Kshatriyas, they will work, right? They would always be this, that, somewhere the Kshatriyas disagree, but they know that, okay, we have to bow down to the Brahmanas. So this is an inherent part. And when we see this, even in today's world, when people who have Brahminical side and people who have the Kshatriya side, when we are trying to do something together for Krishna, we should know that if there are differences, those differences are healthy. Okay, it is by nature, it will happen, right? So that's why if you see, right, Prabhupada, he named ISKCON as a society, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. It is not a religion, So the idea that Srila Prabhupada had was that where people understand the importance of Krishna consciousness, those societies, there's a possibility of implementing Devi Varnashram. So I'll speak about it a little further. First, now getting into the next social orders, I would like to mention one of the most initial descriptions of Varna and Ashram appear in Purusha Shrupta prayers. And there it mentions something very interesting. Brahmanosya mukham asi. Brahmins arose or came from the mouth of the Virat Purusha. Bahu Rajanya Krita. The Kshatriyas are the arms of the Supreme. Purutad Asya Vaishya. From the thighs came the Vaishyas. Padbhyam Shudro Ajayatah. From the feet, the Shudras were Ajayatah, born. So many scholars, they consider that the point here that is being made is that Shudras are born. That means the conclusion is that by birth, everybody is a Shudra. Okay. And by our qualities, then one can rise to other social orders. So talking about Vaishyas, faith in Vedic civilization, dedication to charity, freedom from hypocrisy, once again common, service to the Brahmanas, perpetually desiring to accumulate more money. This is the defining quality of a Vaishya. No matter how much money they get, they are never satisfied. In their nature, morning, evening, night. These are the natural qualities of Vaishyas. And then we do not have many probably in our society, so I don't have much for that. But Shudras, service without duplicity to the Brahmanas, cows, demigods, and other worshipable personality, complete satisfaction with whatever income is obtained in such service are the natural good qualities of the Shudras. Has any one of you heard the statement Kalu Shudra Sambhava? Everyone has heard. What does that mean? Everyone is Shudra in Kali Yuga. So what is that quality? And I've asked some of you already, I believe. What is that one quality which is there by birth in everybody in Kali Yuga, which is in Tamogun? We talked about gunas, right? So Brahmanas, Sattva, then Sattva and Rajo, then Rajo and Tamo. And then we say that Shudras are in Tamogun, right? What is that Tamogun quality that is there in everyone in Kali Yuga? Everybody drinks liquor, is it? Including children.
Service, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Service attitude.
Service attitude is a very good attitude, Mataji. That can be Brahminical also, right? So service attitude, yes. Service attitude, literally like employee. Whoever is an employee, right? Employee is not a businessman, he is not a Kshatriya, he is not a Brahmana. So the employee consciousness can be seen as Shudra, but not everybody is an employee, or not everybody has that service attitude in general. One of the lethargy, laziness. We have multifaceted, variegated levels of laziness in Kali Yuga. That is one of the downsides. So actually, if you see all these qualities, right, like Mataji said, service to Brahmanas and cows is actually common between Shudra and Vaishnavas also, right? It's such a good quality. Thank you for that, Mataji. You have a Vaishnava heart. That's why you are seeing that, right? Service is the ultimate goal of Vaishnavism also, right? So it is not lower in that sense from a Brahmana. You will see a lot of qualities between Shudras and Brahmanas. They are common because both of them are humble, right? So there is service, serving others is a very natural quality for the Shudras. Satisfaction also. But that one quality in Tamogun, because service is not in Tamogun. I was talking about Tamogun. In Tamogun, that one quality which has marred everyone who is born in Kali Yuga is indolence, excessive laziness. And this entire identity that falls upon us when we are born in Kali Yuga is that we are money-making robots. Every employee sees himself, not the society sees him like that. We ourselves see ourselves as money-making robots. Why did you go to school? So that you can go to college. Why did you go to college? So that you can get a job. Why are you getting a job? So that I can become that money-making robot. Then one day the society will tell you, or you will decide for yourself, or both will happen at the same time, that we will say we cannot make more money, so retire now. Now you are no more a good money-making robot, and then we retire. This is the identity of practically every person in Kali Yuga. Shri Shri Radha Gopi Jan Vallabh Bhagwan ki jai, Pitaya Patit Pavan Dwara Hari ki jai. So, out of all the identities that we have, what we want to do is we want to increase our identity of being a Vaishnava, and we want to reduce or totally give up this identity that the purpose of my life is to worry about retirement, savings, promotions, just be that money-making robot, right? So we will talk about that also a little bit. But more importantly, just to close the loop on the Brahmanika, the Varna Ashram order, right? There are two very important verses. First, dirtiness, dishonesty, thievery, very important, faithlessness, useless quarrel, lust, anger, and hankering. They constitute the nature of those in the lowest position outside the Varna Ashram system. So people, if they have dirtiness, hygiene missing, dishonesty, faithlessness in Lord and his arrangement, useless quarrel, they don't even come under Varnashram. If you will see, just by taking this quality of faithlessness, you would realize probably maximum people who are not on the path of spirituality, they don't come under Shudra Varna also. Because Shudras means they have understanding of what the Brahminical culture is, and they are surrendered to some Brahman. So then the next categories are Mlechas. By Sanskrit word, it means anyone who speaks gibberish language, who does not speak Sanskrit is Mlecha. And what is the result of that? One who does not understand Sanskrit, they would not understand the values that are explained in Sanskrit scriptures. So in general, the qualities of Mlechas would be that they are nothing close to what Vedic culture would follow. If Sanskrit is not there, then Sanskriti cannot be there, right? And the second is Yavanas. Yavanas is, again, by Sanskrit word, it's meat eaters. And then because meat eating is sometimes very closely tied with the religious beliefs that come in Quran, actually, in Al-Baqarah, it's said that after every 40 days, you must eat meat. So it is sometimes Yavana word is very closely used with Muslims, So because there is no faith in Vedic ideology, a lot of their even rituals are very directly opposite to what Vedic ideology is. So we come back to try to understand, okay, those who have faith now, right? All our qualities are very much aligned with Vaishnavism. One thing that we have to give up is laziness. That is the most important, and take up to determination. Okay. I have seen many people in my life who are employees. They behave very badly with many people, but because their boss is fine with that, they are able to get away with that bad behavior. This is not an option. This is not an option for Vaishyas, businessmen. Businessmen cannot do it. You cannot run a shop and not follow some of the values of integrity, of speaking nicely with everyone, be very pakka, very determined on some of the good qualities. You cannot function without that in the society because nobody will come to you. So Shudras have this leeway of being lazy and non-deterministic, and they can still survive. But as soon as somebody thinks of, I want to do a business, they would realize that they will have to become very pakka on some of the basic, very, not even spiritual, even at a materialistic level, some of the qualities. That determination, right? So this determination, when a Shudra gives up the idea of laziness and takes up to determination, if they don't have knowledge, they take up to business. I want to make money. If I give up laziness, I have decided I'll give up laziness. What will you do? I will make money. That is the first idea that comes, right? As soon as I decide to give up laziness. If there is spiritual knowledge, sattvic, then one may think of selfless service to the society, leader of some this, that, and may reach a Kshatriya position. But the most congenial and recommended and in line with our spiritual purpose is to try to take up Brahminical qualities. And Sattva is not something that only it's a prerogative of Brahmanas. It's not like that. The second verse, the 21st verse, so I was reading from 17th verse, the 21st verse of 11th canto, 17th chapter says, non-violence, truthfulness, honesty, desire for happiness and welfare for all others, freedom from lust, anger and greed. These constitute duties for all the members of society. These sattvic qualities are not just that, oh, if this is there, then you are a Brahman. This is something that everybody can follow. Welfare of others. Everybody can do their varna, be in their varna situated, but have the consciousness of serving others. So this is recommended. So when we give our laziness, what should be our goal? The first and foremost is that we should give importance to spirituality, and primary one of them is reading Srila Prabhupada's books. The spiritual lethargy that we have, if we want to give up, we have to give up, right? If you want to progress on the path of spirituality, you should know your biggest enemy is laziness. And if you want to give that up, then better it be for the topmost reason. And the best way you can benefit yourself is if you will read Srila Prabhupada's devotional service under the guidance. So with that, I will come to purpose of Varnashram. Varnashram is a socio-economic order. It is an order of the society. It is not the topmost priority. It is supposed to support those people who are surrendered to the idea of spiritual progress. And it can only exist between them. Varnashram is supposed to make our lives easy and our path of spiritual progress easy. But if the spiritual connection is missing, then it does not even matter why we could consider about Varnashram. So Varnashram is not a society dependent on anything other than a self-sustaining community which is centered around cow. So Varnashram can only exist when that society exists around cow. Cow brings that self-sufficiency to any society. So Brahmanas serve the cows, Vaishyas serve the cows, and the Kshatriyas are supposed to protect the Brahmanas and the cows. Okay, it's like Krishna has said that I created Kshatriyas only for the protection of Brahmanas and the cows. Right? And those who are non-deterministic, whose general population, they are supposed to then serve those who are determined. So these three are the only ones who are determined. Brahman, he is spiritually determined. The Kshatriyas, they are spiritually and materially determined. And the Vaishyas, they are materially determined. Whoever is not determined, they are all Shudras or lower, right? So there is actually a very strong connection between how Vaishnavas are initiated and the spiritual, the qualities of a Shudra. I don't know if you know, but even I learned this very recently, that in the Varna ashram, the Shudras were given the designation Das, and they were supposed to call whomever they are serving as Prabhu. So Vaishnavism also, when we initiate, we want the person to take that position of humility. I am the Das, right? Servant. Das of, not directly Krishna, but servant of those who are surrendered to the idea of surrendering to Krishna, right? That is the fundamental principle of Vaishnavas. It is this determination only that differentiates and brings that change in a Shudra, because of which, by the power of determination, one can learn, get the knowledge, and then apply it and raise themselves from tamogun and rajogun to sattva. That is the goal of life. There is no other goal but to rise to the level of knowledge. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. We have to come to that platform of spiritual knowledge, right? So therefore, it is very important that we must. There is a saying that everybody knows. Nobody wants to be a leader because they know leadership is hard work, right? Bhagavatam was there, written in Sanskrit. But nobody wanted to take that pain to actually go learn Sanskrit and translate that in the mood of acharyas. Right? It's all laziness, different levels of, as I was saying, laziness in understanding shastras, laziness in going and trying to become a leader, because we have seen leadership means you have to do lots and lots and lots of hard work, lot of austerity, right? So what was Srila Prabhupada's idea of Varnashram? Final words on this. Srila Prabhupada's idea of Varnashram was not his primary focus. When he came to the West, he did not talk about Varnashram. He talked about establishing the principles of Krishna consciousness. Once you have a self-sustaining society, once you have a society of devotees, right, and now you are going through that managing and giving the direction to the devotees and everything. At that time, Varnashram comes in. How we can manage the devotees in that. And that's why Srila Prabhupada, he had these two ideas. One was idea of self-sufficient farm communities where Varnashram can be implemented, but also having centers in the middle of this perspective, right? It is an obvious mistake if somebody thinks that they are in one of these varnas, actually, because in Kali Yuga, another truth is that the varnas are all mixed. The tendencies of different varnas, they all exist in an individual, and we must just identify our higher natures and try to engage them in the service of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada said that Kali Yuga is an emergency, apat dharma. In apat dharma, anybody can do whatever is needed. So Vaishnavas, as Vaishnavas, unless we are very inspired and something is manifesting where a self-sustained community will come up, which is centered around cows, the idea of Varnashram is, the idea of Varna is not for us. But the idea of ashram is the most neglected part of varnashram. You know, whenever the topic of varnashram comes, people try to think and meditate a lot about the varnas, but very little focus is given to the ashram part. Ashram is what brings the relevance. You know, the relevance of varnashram does not start in understanding the complexities of our varna, but in understanding and practicing the simplicity of ashram. Ashram means to take shelter and to turn our dwelling place into a hermitage. You know, I am not qualified to speak about any other ashram other than Grihastha ashram. So Grihastha ashram also, it's a very artificial Grihastha ashram today, because Grihastha ashram can be practiced in a less stress, in the in a setting of less stress when they were joint families. Nuclear families, it's even more difficult because everything comes on just two individuals, the father and the mother. You have to raise the kids also, do this also, that also, everything, you know. So again, what should be the goal? The goal of a family should be to understand how everyone can excel in Krishna consciousness. Right? That is the primary goal. And that's why we should have a constant endeavor to improve three things. First priority, health. There should be a constant endeavor to see how my health is and what can I do, what new habit I can take to make myself healthier. It could be taking up healthier habits, sleeping early, waking up early, taking our dinners early, what to eat, what not to eat, even in all the things that are okay to eat, what is my metabolism, how is my health, so what kind of food suits me better. And you will see this very common in all the serious devotees. They start with there are so many devotees, they only eat like bajra roti or something, some they just eat once a day, some they only take millets. So that is just cultivating healthier habits. There's a constant endeavor for that, and this is the first priority. The second priority is sadhana, constant endeavor to improve sadhana. How can I improve sadhana? How can I improve reading Prabhupada's books? How can I improve hearing? How I can improve chanting? Many a times, one of the most uh, commonly sought reason is no time, busyness. Just want to share a quick thing about it, that if you had, let's say, a flight at 2 a.m. in the morning, 99.99% of us will not miss it. We will make it, right? So getting up at even 12:30 or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to catch a flight, we are sufficiently motivated, so we are able to do it. That means the problem is not that I don't have time or I cannot wake up or this or that. The problem is we are not sufficiently motivated. When a person is sufficiently motivated, we make time for things and we do it. Let's say you are saying you are running very, very busy. You don't have time to do XYZ thing in spirituality. And suddenly you realize that your driver's license is expired. You will make time to go and get your driver's license. So the problem is not time or busyness. The problem is you are not properly motivated. So if you want to be motivated for spirituality, you should go to a mall and talk to some shopkeeper there. They will say, well, Prabhu, why don't you read Srila Prabhupada? No. If you need motivation to move forward in bhakti, you can only get motivated by associating with devotees. Who else will motivate you for bhakti, right? So that means that the devotees are there, but I'm not taking that humble position to approach devotees and say, right, whoever sadhana is better, somebody who is reading more than I read, and I should approach them with humility. With that humility, you will get the grace of Krishna, that whatever you will ask, Krishna will empower you and he will motivate you to do that. It need not be that you must go to, yes, if you go to a very, very great personality, a sadhu, then it is very natural that we take that humble position. So that's why the effect will be that strong on us. But if we take that humble position, even with a quote unquote mediocre devotee, it is by your humility you will be able to bring that motivation. So this should be there. This constant endeavor to improve our sadhana should be there. Then the seva will naturally follow. And so I would like to conclude by saying that one of these first instructions in Updeshamrita, right? Srila Rupa Goswami says, Vacho vegam, manasah krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udarapastho vegam, etan vegan yo visabheta dhiraha, sarvam abhimam prithvim sashishya. A person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, and the actions of anger, the urges of tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. If you want to make progress in spirituality, then you must strive to become a leader. And you should know very clearly that to be a leader really means to be the leader of your senses. If you are a leader of your senses, you will become pure. And when there is purity, with that purity comes the force. So that is the real idea of leadership. The idea of leadership is not to find somebody whom I can control and get that false feeling of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya that I am the controller. The idea of leadership is that if you want to progress on the path of spirituality, then you have to become a leader of your senses. Take that control. So with that, I would like to get on to last topic, and I have really not prepared a lot for this very auspicious day. Today is Sharad Purnima and the Kartik month is starting. My only meditation is that when we want to improve our sadhana, then we have to intensify, like we said, right? Once in a while, if you have to get up to catch a flight at 3 a.m. in the morning, you can get up. But it will become difficult for you if you have to catch a flight at 3 a.m. every night. It will become difficult for you. So this is how mind works. You can take these deterministic actions for short periods of time. That is possible, and that's why we see that people come on Mangal Aarti on Janmashtami, on Nityanand Trayodasi, on all the special occasions, because we are able to push ourselves. So Kartik Maas is that month where we can take a longer vow, a vow longer than a day, right? And motivate ourselves to do something that we always wanted to do, increase our reading or increase our chanting or take some other vow and try to do it for a month. And then don't stop. If you can, if it has become part of your daily sadhana, then keep it, right? So last 2 points on that. First is the rubber band example. It is I have heard it from a couple of sages, some of them saints actually outside Krishna consciousness. But like there's a rubber band, and if you hold it like this, right? So let's say the one end on the top is activities in Krishna consciousness, coming to temple, taking darshan of the deities, being in this consciousness that is there in the temple, and the other is my home. What happens is, one consciousness is that most of the time my consciousness is around my family, my activities, my this, that, and once in a while I take this rubber band, I go there, and then I leave and I come back over. Other can be that my consciousness is always revolving around Krishna, around temple, around my deities, and once in a while I have to go take care of my material needs, and then again my consciousness comes back here. This is the shift of consciousness that we have to do ultimately. And so there can be a lot of ways we can take some vow in this Kartik Mass. My personal vow is that I want to do this, that I want to have this rubber band consciousness, where my consciousness should stay with Shri Shri Radha Gopi Janmali? Can I take their darshan every time that curtain opens, or at least twice? If I cannot do that, then at least once in the morning, once in night, when Damodar Ashtakam would happen, or something, somewhere I have to take that vow that at least I will try to do that, and let my consciousness at least for this 1 month be centered towards Shri Shri Radha Gopi Janma. That wherever I am, I would go do that, but then my consciousness should come back here. That is there. And now the last point. We are not supposed to be money-making robots. The nature of a living entity is that we are the givers and receivers of love. That is our original position. And to think that two Jivatmas can have love between them without the sense of Paramatma is an illusion. It is moha. It's attachment. That does not exist. So the real love, we understand that exists, that a person can give and receive. It actually exists with Prema Purushottam. Who is Prema Purushottam? Krishna. Krishna is Prema Purushottam. He is the God of Prema. He taught this world the act of love through the villagers of Vraja. They were willing to do anything and everything to serve Lord Shri Krishna. This is the most evolved concept of God realization. Similarly, Lord Shri Krishna interacted with every living entity in Vrindavan. Deers, peacocks, cows. Such living interactions are goal of Bhakti Yoga. It is the essence of Sharanagati or Prema Bhakti, love of God. When one relates with God having no motivation other than love or without any interruption, such a relationship is very relishable because there is no expectation other than love. Such loving descriptions are scattered in throughout the Vedic literatures, but especially in Bhagavatam and Ramayana. When our senses, mind, intelligence, and ego are engaged in doing what they are supposed to do with a heart filled with love for God, then that is the perfection of our sadhana. So with that, I would like to stop here, beg forgiveness if I have spoken outside my adhikar, and for my mistakes, I beg apologies. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Proceed.
You didn't prepare.
No, I prepared. No, I could not prepare for Kartik Maas. Yeah.
Very practically, like how to someone like can relate. I could relate every portion of what he said. Lack of. I just had one question. He said that Shudra is, my understanding of Shudra is very active. In the sense that I can understand on nature because he actually the Shastra outside. I understand the Shudra very actively studying. He has a purpose. He's saying that so, and you can see that there are carpenters or or they're very active. They're not easy. They do hours of work, but they might be under.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to understand what happens.
Thank you for that, Prabhuji. As I said, there's different levels of laziness. Like I have met so many people in Krishna consciousness and outside Krishna consciousness who say that just tell me what I need to do and do that. I cannot do the thinking part. If you can tell me what needs to be done, that's easy for me. But I cannot read books. I cannot be determined. So it could be spiritual lethargy in that sense that, everyone has the ability to be determined, but we just don't want to do that. So it's not physical laziness, but more of intellectual laziness, and then definitely spiritual laziness, right? So in that context, and then another thing that I have seen is that if you are determined, right, you will definitely become a determination is that stops one from doing that. And mostly the reason why somebody is not determined and all that complications is because they are too attached to sense gratification and staying in comfort zone, right? So if there is a tendency of staying in comfort zone, I see that as a sort of laziness.
You said we focus a lot on modern ashrama, but isn't that if my varna is very low, then the ashrama, I cannot transition to different ashrama. So if my varna Prabhupada said, very shallow,
Yes, what I meant was, Prabhuji, that in last 40 years, there are many devotees who have talked about or meditated upon Varnashram. In that, I heard and I agreed with one devotee recently saying that we have focused a lot on understanding Varna and how something based on Varna can be established, but not so much stress has been given on figuring out and spending our time and effort in understanding Grihastha ashram and Varna and Vanaprastha ashram and how they can be benefited by the understanding of Varna ashram. So that focus has been more on Varnas and not so much on cultivating Grihasthas and preparing them for Vanaprastha. That was one observation, and I felt yes.
My understanding is transition is very important. My varna is I'm still on the level of I cannot feel that I need to go to varna. So but I think like you said, I like to be in the comfort zone. And so I don't want to shift because ashrama is giving myself and if I'm intellectually if I'm not determined, then I don't want to step out of comfort. That's
yes.
So I understand.
Let me say it this way: if I had to worry about, I get two types of questions in my mind. One is what is my Varna, and one is ashrama. Focus many a times is more on Varna, understanding what my Varna is, and not so much on how I can cultivate harmonical qualities in my ashram. The purpose of ashram, right? Is my home really an ashram? Can I, even with my limited resources and my limited whatever somehow I have, when I speak about Varnashram, am I really focusing on even the first 2-3 points that an ashram must have somewhere there?
We are just saying that we are spending too much time pocketing ourselves into something instead of seriously going.
Correct. Thank you. Online Zoom, does anybody have any comment?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.